Hey people, happy Workers Day! Happy Workers Day 2026, May Day. Welcome. Should I sing? Well, anyway, welcome to Mind Your Character, Olusola Olusola-Obasa. How are you doing? Public holiday. I'm at home. How are you people doing? Alright, so I would not be taking plenty of time today. I hope that my regular people will be able to join if the public holiday hasn't made them forget. I did a reminder before now, and today is part 2. I'm concluding the session I started, and I probably will put a wrap today to the entire series on habits. So I've been talking about how to audit your habits and master them. Key things that are essential. I told you how powerful habits can be, especially with a quote by Stephen Covey talking about habits being powerful forces. I told you some of the nature or telltale signs of habits. They are pattern-like, repetitive, they can become fixed, they can become difficult to unmake when they've been made, they can even be made mistakenly, like unwittingly. You are not aware, but over time you have formed a habit over specific things. I also helped us see that habits, when they are good, they support and sponsor our goals, and when they are bad, they destroy or damage our goals. So I did say that habits are essential, habits are powerful, but we need to be conscious. So that talks about the audit part. You need to settle down and help yourself see, what habits have I formed? What habits am I forming? Are they good? So habits, the word habit is a neutral word. It can be bad and it can be good depending on the person in question per time. I also helped us see that habits are an integral part of building our character, and that's why it's important to me. On the side of character development, habit is a key functional area of character building. They are like the autopilot that run your character. So when we talk about character and say that you need values as pillars of character, then you need habits as the motor that runs your character. They help you be consistent with the things that you have said you will do, or negatively or positively, like I said. So altogether, we have seen habits as very, very essential and important part of our lives as adults. So an adult should be able to take responsibility for his or her habits. There should be no excuses passed from one person to another, saying something like, oh, you that's why you have to be intentional. So it's better to build willful, intentional, deliberate habits than to live your whole life with habits you only suddenly found out you had, or people started complaining and then you found out that it's part of you. How does this work? Intentional character building helps you settle down with you and take an assessment. So I call it a PCA. You do a personal character assessment where you're trying to check your habits, check your mindset, check your behaviors, check your values. Usually you will start from values because that's like the bedrock. That's like the engine house that runs your character. And because a lot of people think that character is something that becomes of itself, as against something that you make to become of you. They think that it can be left in the hands of so many things except themselves, and that doesn't work. So that's like a preamble, not a preamble now, a recap of so many things that we have discussed. And I've been playing around the word age and change in this particular series, trying to help you see that. You see that habit that is being complained about or they have found out to be wrong, if you don't do anything against it, about it, you will go from being a girl in your father's house to being a lady of your own, to being a wife, to being a mother, to being a grandmother, to being a great-grandmother, and that habit will still remain like that. So I said the habits do not necessarily change just because you're aging. Change age. Trying to help you remember that for every birthday that you celebrate, one question you must ask: what habits must I change? Because they will not auto change themselves. Bad habits do not auto change. They rely on your deliberate decisions and actions to change. And the other thing I did last week, because of the time I have, last week I began a 2-part session, still in that series, listing out some habits that will not change no matter how older you're getting. And we did 5. I said it that I had up to 18 last week. I was only able to handle 5. I'm going to continue from number 6. So I might be putting a little halt to the habits series, maybe by this week or next, just so I can have time to talk about something else. Because in this month of May that started today, happy new month everyone, I was almost forgetting, but yes, I remember that this is Workers' Day. All of us workers, twale to us. May God continue to give us strength to work. May our work speak for us, and then may our work build a legacy for us that even our children will walk in. So let those works be positive. If you're working with someone, build with whoever you're working with, because it is a platform for what yours will be like. And if you own something, respect those who work for or with you. They deserve all of the honor and respect for choosing you amongst every other person to support your vision. That's an aside, but very important. So I mentioned 5 things last week, and today I'll mention as many as time will allow me. But I was going to say that by the last Saturday of this month, which I believe is the 30th day of May, I'm going to be hosting one big exceptional customer service training. This one is a paid training. Thank you to everyone who attended our free Character Ambassadors Forum training last Saturday. And if you missed it, we talked about when the useful stuff feels used. You can catch up with the video on YouTube, Mind Your Character YouTube, or RCV Character YouTube. So for this month of May, we are trying to help businesses understand that habits also play a role in customer service. And it will amaze you that there are habits that support customer service. There are habits that support good marital relationship. There are habits that support business partnership. There are habits that support different areas of life. So one of the major things we will be talking about at that customer service forum, paid forum, 75,000 per head, will be just part of it will be habits. You need to be aware of the habits that can support customer service. Thank God for all the innovations around customer service and systematizing things, beautiful, but people are still very important when it comes to customer service, and that makes it important for us to do checks and audits around people's habits. So one of the benefits that you will get from being part of that is you'll be able to self-audit and know the things that you as a customer service agent, support or success customer service support team member will need to know. You'll find out about who you've been, and then will transition you to who you should be. I look forward to a very beautiful time. As of now, we plan it to be entirely virtual, but just like what happened when we hosted the February training, some managers or CEOs said they would like their team members to be physically in the room, and we made provision for that. So if for any reason you'd rather have it hybrid, we have that flexibility of operation. But generally, so that I can capture people from everywhere in the world, we are positioning it as a fully virtual training. That said, let's now move into what we have. Don't forget, this is part 2 of habits that will not change just because you are aging. The only thing that will change them are intentional growth changes. If you take intentional steps to change them, then they will change. They have no choice but to change. Last week, we looked at number 1, habits that won't change no matter how old you get. Number 1, attitude towards learning. Number 2, feedback, your response to feedback, whether you do not like to be told where you've gone wrong or whether you do. Number 3, your level of discipline, and discipline is important in getting anything done. That's the power of consistency, and integrity and honesty, and then work ethics. That was where I stopped last week, and today we're going to go on to accountability. I'm going to try and rush as much as I can within the few minutes that I have with me. Accountability is another habit that will not change no matter how much older you are getting, except you take a change-based action. Learning like you're doing through this video is one of the ways you can begin to experience change. When it comes to accountability and not taking it, when you choose not to be accountable for anything, and you've grown to know yourself to be like that, blaming others versus taking responsibility for you, you'd rather blame others for everything, is a deeply ingrained behavior. It's so rooted that it can stay there in you and grow, like I usually say, from mouse size to monster size, if you like. Except you deliberately change this habit, you could become very invincible around being accountable. And that means that gradually people will just accept, oh, that's who he is. He never accepts, he never agrees. God help you if you are always leading anywhere. People will just say, whoa, just, Yorubas will say, Dasilara, Dasilara. But you see, if you are a subordinate anywhere, you are in big trouble. You are in big trouble. I don't want to say the way some people will say it. I mean, and it's almost on my lips. Okay, so number 2, which makes it number 7, right, from last week. Emotional regulation. Emotional regulation. Habits around emotional regulations, when they are poor habits, when they have not been refined, when they are too raw and crude, like short temper, impatience, or calmness, usually carry forward unless intentionally worked on. So if you are impatient, if you lack calmness, if you are short temper, you carry them forward and forward and forward, except to work on them deliberately. Before you know, it becomes your reputation and you are viewed as a toxic person. Because of that, people manage you in their space when you have to be there. Otherwise, they avoid you altogether. You and I can tell that there can be people in your life who you just keep your space when it has to do with them, because they are like an emotional garbage going somewhere to spoil another person's day, averagely all of the time. And it doesn't matter how old they are getting or older they are getting, they're just that. Okay, so why remain that when you actually have an opportunity to switch by learning and by taking commitment steps gradually, little by little? I must have also said that habits are not switches. You don't switch on and off, but there must be a date of decision. There must be a date of ownership of the new one, decision against the old one, and a journey kick starts. And you keep getting better on the go. Number 8, which is the third for today. Financial habits. Financial habits like spending. When you're a spendthrift, if it's a good habit, then it will be a habit of savings as against being a spendthrift. If it's bad, it can also be impulsive money behavior, like spend on impulse. Everybody that advertising something to you seems to have your mumu button, the way we say it in street parlance, and that means that you want to patronize them. Here is ice cream you buy, here is chocolate you buy, here is clothes you buy, here is jewelry you buy, here is a new hairstyle you buy. I mean, talking about wig, you just buy. Here are new sets of glasses you buy. Here you just buy. Why buying is good, and then you should look good, and you should reward yourself with good looks and buy stuff for yourself. They should not be things that you do frivolously. So financial habits are also habits, when they are bad, that you need to work on. I have been saying this, and I must have said in one of the editions, that whilst we are talking about changing bad habits, it's important to talk about strengthening good ones. Because it's easier to drop from a good habit to a bad habit than to grow up from a bad habit to a good one. Don't ask me why. It's just this general rule about life that bad things seem to happen without much. A fall, you don't need to do a big thing to fall down. A fall is as easy as a fall, but rising and climbing to a mountain hill, you can't say, oh, I went to sleep yesterday and when I woke up this morning, I have built a beautiful house for myself and my family. There's nothing like that. So that's why when it comes to character or habits, you hear formation, you hear building, you hear development, character development, habit formation, character building, and all that, meaning that there is a deliberate action. There are sets of deliberate actions that are taken, and from there you are getting better. It's possible, and these are decisions we have to make, because by and large they will have influence and impact, directly or indirectly, positively or negatively, on who we're becoming, how we do what we do, and what people remember us for. This can go ahead to determine how decisions are made concerning us, or how prospects are decided. Good. So wasteful spenders exist even into their octogenarian years, even to their nonagenarian years. You just say, grandma, that's grandma for you. From when she was young, that's how she's used to. Age doesn't change this thing. It's shocking, right? But it's so true. Look around you and you find nonagerians who are in their 90s, octogenarians who are in their 80s, and you'll be shocked to see that they will have given that thing a name that is funky and matches their age. And people in their space would have decided that, well, that's who this person is when it has to do with money. Good behaviors are not automatic, but bad behaviors can be built without knowing. Wow, this life. All right, so number nine is relationship patterns. Number nine, relationship patterns. How a person treats people, that is habits around how you treat people, whether you even think of people to be anything, or think of people as things, items, property, and that now affects how you behave towards them on a regular basis, at a pattern basis, making it a habit. Do you disrespect people's time arbitrarily by being tardy and never arriving early? Do you respect or disrespect people's spaces and their items? Do you show empathy or not? Are you selfish or are you generous towards people? When these things tend to repeat themselves over time, they are a habit and they can be formed on a consistently continuous basis. It doesn't matter how older you are becoming. Don't forget that what I've played around majorly around habits, because this is probably not the first item, resource, or talk or video you're seeing around habits formation or building. But the general idea I've built around this series is the fact that your habits will not change just because you're getting older. I need you to let that sink in well, or weller, right? Let it sink in, because the truth is there are habits that will not move or change just because you're getting older. And what I've been doing since last week is actually listing some of them. And right now I'm on number 9, and that is relationship patterns. When you become habitual with handling people wrongly or wrongfully, it becomes a narrative about you that goes to town. So that talk goes ahead of you into wherever you are going. And then it drives decisions by other people about you. And there is no late time to start working and making things right, if you would. Now let's mention the next one, which is communication style. Habits around communication style can include passive, aggressive, or clear if it's a good one, unclear when it's not a good one. Often they can stay consistent. You can know people who do not go straight to the point ever when they want to say anything. So they want to make a point of order in a meeting, and you're too sure. Everybody just goes like this the moment the person stands up. Why? They have formed the habit of merry-go-rounding, romancing what they want to say, and for people like them, what they're actually trying to do is to ensure that you understand them well. But at the end of the day, what they do not know, and they will need to come home and drive with the feedback around, is the fact that it puts people off before you know it. So people like them need to learn to not just be clear, but go straight to the point. That is, learn how to weave a few words around to make sense within the space that matters. That's why when I talked about your response to feedback last week, it's important to all of this. So are you aggressive or passive? Are you unclear? Or you are not even, you don't even talk when it comes to communication? You are in no style. Because we're talking about communication style, and maybe you are in no style because you're non-existent when it comes to talking. You're always quiet. Whether you know, you don't know. What you don't know, you don't want to know. What others know, you don't want to know. And what a world to live in. So let me give an example. If a girl is a lousy talker from when she was a girl, and I'm not talking about underage, maybe from whenever they know who they are, the way we said, and she's lousy and nobody helps, or she doesn't get feedback that helps her know that, oh, as a girl you should be prim and proper. There should be a way you should communicate whatever you want to say and all that. She grows from being a girl who is lousy to a lady who is lousy, to a wife who is lousy, to a mom who is lousy, and to a grandmom who is lousy. Only intentional change can switch that pattern. Talking about how habits can grow. In one of the episodes I took during this series, I said that one thing that habits know how to do very well is to stick. Like they stick to you, like your skin. And that's why some people's habits become so serious, they need deliverance around it. Because it has gone beyond where their power can handle. They need the power of God to break it. A decision can't do it anymore. Honestly, even if you need a deliverance, go ahead and get it. You deserve the best of life. So if there's a habit that is counterproductive that you're growing with into your older years, there's no time that is ever too late to switch. The next one is procrastination. A number of people are guilty as charged. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next. I will. I would. I shall. And you keep using all the stronger words that show that you are going to take action, but you never take the action. Procrastination is one habit that can grow with you. Delaying important tasks is a pattern that doesn't disappear with time alone. Majority time, you need to take intentional step and tell yourself something like, nope, I'm going to stop procrastinating. When I say I will do something, I will do it. Many of these things, parents can actually help children grow better into them positively if you are a parent who is hands-on and you understand these things, or if there are things you struggled with and you don't want them to struggle with, because you can now see how that they are not a plus, and changing them as an adult can be more difficult. That's another thing about habits. It's like trying to bend a dry fish, but you can still give it a shot because your life deserves all the chances you can give. Delay task, saying you do it next, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, is a poor habit, and it does not change just because you don't start doing things just because now I'm 70, I'm going to start doing it. You have to decide it, make a choice, and take steps. Take your steps. So, and when you procrastinate a lot, you lose trust with people because they cannot rely on you to keep a schedule or keep a promise, and that's not a good one at all. The next one is attention to details, and I'm so interested in this. A lot of people believe that things should just get done. They don't have to be done well. But no, in the life that we live today, everyone positions as intelligent. Everyone seems to position like, oh, I'm intelligent, I know stuff. And it's not difficult anymore to be intelligent. Not with artificial intelligence, you get me, right? It's no longer difficult to position or pose like you are intelligent. No longer difficult. I mean, you will have to be someone who has given up on yourself for you to still look dull today. But here's what I'm saying. The aspect of attention to details can even give you away, even when you are using artificial intelligence. For instance, I heard that somebody used AI to edit a certain thing, and even the intro that AI usually, particularly ChatGPT, will all usually say first, and whatever it will say last, like the thing it tells you when you're starting to say, okay, so I'm going to do this, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of it, it's saying, if you allow me, I'll do this more. And people copy those things and just paste like that on official platforms where they are expected. That shows that that person has no attention to details. And it's very dangerous because it tells the difference between you and another. When candidacy is being examined on platforms where merit is crucial, little things like that will give you away. So carelessness versus thoroughness is built over time. It is not a gift by aging. You don't become more excellent with things or at things just because you're getting older. It's either you're gathering more experience and you're taking there's an internal change or shift, and then your actions are aligning. But that you will just fold your hands, give up on yourself, and things will shift when it comes to habits. No. So everything you miss being taught how to do right becomes more difficult to do, to track, or to treat the older you are getting. Everything. Every good thing you struggled with learning. And that's why parents feel pained when they're trying to help children master certain things and they are slowing down around it or not getting what it is about. Because you see the big picture and you really would want them to escape those headaches. The other one is personal hygiene. I have 2 minutes to go. The next one is personal hygiene and orderliness. You know, I'm going to take the risk to say this. Neatness or disorder is habitual. It is not age dependent. Someone can be a guy, a young chap, and then the person can be very tardy, very untidy, and they're just praying that let me just get married and let this cup pass over me. Let me just get married, let this cup pass over me. But because personal hygiene and orderliness, they are not age determined. They are intentional habits built intentionally. All right, the next one is risk mindset. Whether you are risk averse or you have high risk appetite, it's about habits. Avoiding responsibility or taking reckless risk often remains stable as your years go on. There are people who were risky with how they played football as children. Today, they are risky with how they drive themselves and drive their family. It just changes, it just mutates around circumstances. It's still the same telltale sign of a habit you did not work on at the time you should. So this is crucial and very critical. Okay, 1 minute to go. Sense of entitlement. Sense of entitlement is number 15. Sense of entitlement is number 15, and expecting things without effort tend to persist if not corrected early. People go from feeling like everybody owes them something as single people, as people in the office. Just believe that people around you should look out for you. They are the type who never call you, but they expect you to look out for them. Just feeling entitled. If you're my friend, you should look out for me. If you're my friend, you should call me. Okay, they never reverse the order to say something like, oh, this is also on me as much as it is on the other person. And so they sit there and expect everybody else to care about them around things, but they never ever do the same for others. So when it comes to having a sense of entitlement, it's a very toxic thing. It creates, like, it stifles relationship, it destroys relationships, because there is that other person thinking that they are their best or they are trying their best. But here is the other person again on the other side, feeling that, oh, this person, if they cared, they should do this. If they cared, they should do that. Life does not run on one person's emotion alone. So the feeling of entitlement, if you don't take care of it, even as a grandfather, you will still be feeling entitled that nobody is calling you. Everybody else should call you. Everybody else should look out for you. And then you will now weave it around your old age. Everybody around you would have decided, this is grand. And everybody is just, they are tiptoeing around you and ensuring that we don't want to hurt her. We don't want to hurt him. It's important for us to work on our habits. Otherwise, we make life difficult for ourselves and the people around us. I'll take listening ability and self-awareness together, and I shut down for today. Listening ability. Poor listeners really become good listeners without deliberate change. Yes. If a lot of people cannot tell when they are becoming poor listeners, they can't tell. They can't tell they are becoming poor listeners. And that's why feedback, your freedom of heart or open-heartedness or mindedness around feedback will help you a lot when it comes to habits. Because people will tell you, these days I notice you do this. People can easily help you see when things are jumping on you that are not your own, or that don't look like you or like where you're going. Particularly people who are accountable for your life in one way or the other. They will tell you, I noticed this pattern, because habits form a pattern. So if you have poor listening skill, it's not likely to change just because you have grown older. It's likely to remain like that the older you're getting. And then the final one is self-awareness. This is the father of them all. There are so many elderly people today who are not self-aware. They cannot tell who exactly they are. They cannot tell how they do the things they do, why they do the things they do, what their personality is, how it affects others, what triggers them when they get triggered, how they come out of moments that are not wholesome, how they get into good one, how they are able to transition, how their emotion works, how other people's around them emotion works, how to manage things. They are just, as long as some people can go to work, make money, they just feel that that's all that it is. They are not paying attention to who they are becoming. Self-awareness is critical. A lack of reflection on yourself doesn't fix itself with time. It requires intentional effort. This is what I do every Friday, and it's free because it's a corporate social responsibility. But so this is a window to help you see the kind of services and products that we have at First Royal Character and Values Limited, RCV. We train corporate organizations like their team members. We also train leaders. We also have coaching, executive coaching for CEOs. There are several things you can learn. There are several areas you can have us come on board and add value to your team. I just mentioned about exceptional customer service. We talk about attitudes a lot and habits around customer service that can support all your technological installations and apps and softwares that you are launching, so that they won't still make it lots of money. Then the other one, we talk about leadership a lot. Character-led leadership. We talk about best workplace attitudes, and we're also masters when it comes to corporate culture. All of these and more. All you just have to do is send us a DM and ask for a training that suits your team, and then book a date and we will be there. I assure you that we do what we do very well. We do what we do very, very well. At the risk of sounding too loud, we do what we do very, very well. And every time we enter into an organization, we are stuck with them and they are stuck with us. That tells you how much of value that we bring. Character is so important, and whoever is building to last must mind it. I have been taking a series on habits for some weeks now, and by next week, thereabout, I will be putting a total wrap to it. However, I want you to know that the journey of habits is a continuous one. If you have good sets of habits, don't go to sleep, because it's easier to drop from a good habit to a bad one than to free yourself from a bad habit into a good one. It means that you must just mind yourself and be very intentional about you. You are one of the greatest things that you have. And when you is wrong, every other thing around you could go wrong. Thank you so much for being part. I want to acknowledge everyone who joined me. Thank you, Moka Ozo Samuel. Thank you, Mr. Olusola-Obasa. Thank you, Jennifer Ukachuku. And thank you, my English teacher. Hey, Pastor Olubanjo Rutosho. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me both on Boston Olusola-Obasa and on Mind Your Character Facebook. This video will shortly be available on YouTube, so if you'd like to refer someone to it or share with someone, feel free. There are so many other value-adding videos like this on Mind Your Character YouTube channel. Just look for Mind Your Character YouTube channel, and then you are in a world of value addition on ending. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with me today, and it's time to say the goodbyes. Enjoy the rest of your workers' day, and may our work continue to pay us positively. Thank you again, everybody, and stay blessed. Oh, my music always. Yeah. Happy Workers' Day and Happy New Month. Bye now.